Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to Talking Devils podcast, your number one independent Manchester United podcast, brought to you by talkingdevils.co.uk. It's different. We're doing our podcast here on a Thursday night, and as always, joined here by former Manchester United players Lee Lawrence and Phil Marsh. Here today to talk all things Manchester United. We're going to talk about the Southampton game coming up this weekend. We're going to review Burnley and also some breaking news that's been just dropped into the comments there as well. So do smash a like on the video, guys. Do subscribe to the channel. A lot of interesting content coming up over these next weeks and months. And look, we're just going to crack into it straight away. First of all, Lee, do you know we had a big game the other night against Burnley? 1-1 draw. A lot of people said Ralph Rangnick coached a 4-0, but we managed to draw 1-1. First of all, what was your overall thoughts, Phil, on the performance and also just the overall result for United on Tuesday night?
Yeah, again, I think it was another one of them games where we've spoke about this a lot over the last couple of weeks in terms of, 45 minutes playing really well and then sort of the second 45 being, nowhere near as good as the first half. I think, I thought we started the game really well. Everyone seemed to be on the front foot, creating lots of chances. Obviously, 3 goals potentially. I know obviously the 2 of them were disallowed. But, looked dangerous and sort of was creating a lot of chances and should have been out of sight really at half time for me. I think, certainly the own goal, I think that was really, really harsh to be chalked off. You see them kind of, tackles and, grappling in the box going on all the time. I think it was really sort of harsh to pull that one back and disallow that one, certainly. So, yeah, again, 45 minutes, we played really well, some good football. I thought Sancho was that's the best I've probably seen him. In a Man United shirt for me, thought he looked really sort of sharp, was positive, making a lot more right decisions. So, that's a big positive that we can take from the game, although, the result was poor. And I think, a team like Burnley, they're always going to have the little moments in the game, but you need to be a lot stronger and you need to be able to see them periods of the game out a lot better than we did. So, yeah, disappointing, obviously, to drop 2 points. But, on another day, it's over at half time and then obviously, the game's put to bed. But again, that's the way things are going for Man United at the moment. Little decisions, not getting the rub of the green. But again, you make your own luck in this game. So, they can't feel sorry for themselves. They just need to keep going and try and turn these performances and these 45-minute spells into full 90-minute games and start winning games and trying to keep, avoiding these silly, sloppy goals that we're conceding.
Lee, Phil mentioned obviously trying to maintain performances over a full 90 minutes. Marcus mentioned it last night on the podcast when he said that Man United are performing better, but we can't maintain it over a 90-minute period, and it's because of Ralph Rangnick's style is so demanding. When you look at United's statistics, we're probably one of the least high-pressing teams before Ralph came in. Now Ralph has us up there and kind of one of the highest in the league at the moment. Do you maybe think the reason why we're not maintaining these performances over 90 minutes is because these players aren't used to maybe working as much as they are now?
Yeah, it could be. That could be a possibility with it. I mean, I've been jotting down in games the stats, looking at the stats for the last couple of games. With the Middlesbrough and Burnley, I've just wrote them down here. We've got with Middlesbrough 71% possession over the 90 minutes, 913 passes compared to 369 passes, 30 shots. You know what I mean? 9 on target. Again, very similar stats when you look at the Burnley match. We're absolutely on paper wiping the floor with these teams, but we just cannot. The in-game management at the moment is no good. We can't. There's definitely a problem maintaining. Look at the first 45 against Burnley. Like I say, we should have been 3-0 up with the dubious goals and the chances we had, maybe a little bit more. And then the 20 minutes we come out the second half, don't get me wrong, it can't be anything being about tired because they've just had a 15-minute break. But for 15, 20 minutes when we come back out, we just look like we sat back and let them come at us instead of maintaining the pressure and, trying to win the game early doors. I think me and Phil tweeted it. Let's get an early goal now this second half, kill them off. Surely to God, if we would have done that, the game would have been dead and buried. I don't even know what the reason is why they can't seem to do it over a full 90 minutes. It's an hard one to get your head around, really, because they've played together now. The team, the starting 11, have played together enough to know how they play, and surely they've got the fitness levels to do it. Being a top professional footballer, so the reason for me is a bit of a sticky one. I can't put my finger on why they only do it in bits and bats, but if it did improve, like Phil said, if we could perform like we did do in the first 45 minutes over the 90, these teams which we are struggling with and drawing games with or losing by the odd goal would be up there. It's just a case of maintaining it.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think, look, if you look at the last two games, if you look at Middlesbrough and Burnley, yes, both similar performances in terms of in the first 45 minutes in both games. Look, we've on any other day, it's probably a 3-4 at half time in both games. And again, I think part of me thinks it's a fitness issue, because if I look at the way they played in both second halves, the tempo, the intensity, the desire to win a second ball it's not that it wasn't there, but they didn't make that extra yard, in them two second halves. And I think maybe one of these things for these players is they're not used to maybe working as much, because in all these teams they were a counter-attacking team, whereas with Ralph's philosophy is keeping the ball, keeping possession, creating more chances, whereas that's a more proactive style to what they were previously. And I think that's why you're seeing a great performance in the first 45, but they're absolutely knackered after that, because they're not used to playing at that high intensity and covering that much ground.
I suppose the other way of looking at it too, then, if that's how it's going to be, then we've got to take our chances when they're presented to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In that, like, say, if we can only press for 50, 60 minutes and then we start getting knackered, and we either need to make the right subs at the right time, or make sure when we do get them chances. And I say the stats what I've just written out, 30 chances in the game. You know what I mean? Scored one goal. We need to be doing a lot better than that, surely, to God.
Yeah, 100%.
Just on that as well, I think you've talked about them stats there and having over 70% possession. Surely, if you're in possession of the ball for 70% of the game, then you shouldn't really be tired. Because for me, when you're in possession of the ball, you should be able to manage that ball. And
here's what, Phil, honestly, the Middlesbrough game, right? I've looked it up. I'm whether it's right or not, I don't know. But what I've looked up, and it looks legit. We had 913 passes to their 369. Now, if they're chasing 913 passes, surely to God, they're going to be the more tired team than we are, keeping possession of the ball. That's why I'm not sure whether it is a fitness thing or not.
I was just going to say on that, I think, if you're keeping possession and there's that many passes being made, then is it a fact that we need to be a little bit more clever with the way we're keeping the ball? Because if we're keeping the ball for that amount of time and that many passes, for me, that says we shouldn't be, tiring out. We should be, if anything, making the other team more tired and creating more chances later on in the game when they're chasing the game, or there's been that many passes made. They should be flat out on the feet. If we're keeping it the way we can keep it and the way we have been, really, for me, the fitness issue is a bit of a cop-out, if I'm being honest. I don't think that is at all, it shouldn't even be in question. The players are fit enough to run for 90 minutes, whether it's with the ball or without the ball.
Yeah. But Burnley, Phil, 22 shots, only 5 on target.
Yeah.
There seems there's something amiss with the chance and converting the chances what we're giving. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, mate, definitely. So, yeah, I just wanted to obviously pick up on that, because I feel as though when people talk about fitness and all this kind of saying Ralph's style is a little bit too much for, some of the players to sort of transition into. I get it a little bit, because obviously it's a different style of football, but for me, the level that these lads are playing at and the fitness levels that they'll have, that shouldn't be coming into the equation.
Yeah, the other thing I would have said to that too, Phil, I know obviously it's a long time since we put on the jersey and we trained every day, but we was all fit as fiddles, weren't we? When you think about it, we never stopped. So no matter
especially at the ages a lot of them are at as well. Like, I mean, excluding probably Ronaldo and Cavani, all the rest of them, they're in the primes. And
it wouldn't have mattered what formation you would have played or what type of game. For them 90 minutes, that you didn't really get tired, did you? I know I didn't. I can't think of anyone Or
it's adrenaline.
Manchester come off and said, I'm absolutely knackered after that game.
Yeah, no. You're running off adrenaline as well. At the end of the day, if you're playing for Manchester United, that gives you, the extra, 10-15% to run around a pitch, regardless of fatigue or, how many games you play in a week or whatever. If you're representing Man United and you're playing in front of big crowds and, you've got that fire in your belly, then it doesn't matter how many passes the other teams or who you're playing against. You should be able to work hard and run around for 90 minutes regardless.
Surely they're getting, like I said, 20 years on from when we played too. Surely to God, they're getting more in the way of fitness and sports science and all that what's developed. So I'd imagine they'd be a lot fitter today than even we was in our day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd think so, mate. Yeah, definitely.
100%. I think, look, there's a number of other factors. Obviously, fitness being one. I think chance convert, they're taking their chances is another. Like, I think we haven't been clinical enough in the last 2 games, and that's been abundantly clear. If you look at even the last 3 games, even if you include the West Ham game as well, United have only scored 3 goals from 70 shots. Like, we've only scored 3 goals from 70 shots. So, like, if you look at that in a nutshell, what that tells you is our finishing needs working on. Now, if you look at the last 2 games, if there were certain players playing, maybe in that game we win that game. If there's other like Lingard or players like that, of other players who actually are clinical players. It's just the situation where, every team has these type of games in terms of you can throw the kitchen sink at them and you still won't score. It happens, but when it happens 2 games in a row, you're kind of thinking, what's going wrong? What do we need to do to fix it? But look, we have a big game this weekend against Southampton, which, look, they had a great win last night. I'm going to touch on that in a moment. But one thing I'll come back to you, Phil, is you mentioned Jaden Sancho. I said on this podcast in September, Jaden Sancho, after a winter break, he watch him after the winter break. Lo and behold, after this winter break, I don't know what it is. He loves a post-winter break glow-up or something. I don't know what it is, but after every winter break we've seen at Dortmund, he plays so much better. But when you're looking at his performances since the West Ham game, like the Watford and Burnley game, kind of after it, do you think now he's had that adjustment period to kind of the Premier League, and are we finally seeing the best of him?
Yeah, I mean, as I said there, I think that game against Burnley the other night is definitely the best game I've ever seen him play for Manchester United, without a shadow of a doubt. I think that was exactly the kind of player I was expecting when we signed him. I mean, I wasn't expecting to hit the ground running straight away and be at that level from minute 1. But for me, it has taken probably a little bit longer than most people would have thought for him to sort of hit this kind of standard and this level. But yeah, obviously in recent games he's looked far better. Just all round, really. I think he looks more confident in the way he's sort of moving with the ball. The decision making has been a lot better, and just the all round confidence. You can see that, especially in the Burnley game the other day, he was driving at players. He had that little bit of skill on the touchline where he's sent Tarkowski and then he's nutmegged him, and that's the kind of thing we were seeing at Dortmund every other week, and that's obviously what we want to be seeing. Playing in a Man United shirt every single week, because if you can do that, then we've got an absolute fantastic player on our hands, and obviously he's only still young. So we're hoping that this is the start now of Jaden Sancho's career at Manchester United. We want to be talking about him sort of a lot more than we have done previously, for all the right things. And I think, his last couple of performances have definitely shown glimpses of that. So, yeah, excited to see if he can keep this form going, because I think at the moment, the way things are going for us, in terms of a lot of the chances that are being created and not being taken, he's going to be a big player for us moving forward, because he's somebody who can definitely create something out of nothing. And as I say, he's probably the player who's playing with the most confidence at the moment in our attacking sort of formation. So yeah, looking forward to obviously seeing how he can carry on in these next couple of games. But yeah, 100% miles better than he has been, and definitely one of the best performances I've seen the other night. So yeah, long may that continue, man.
Yeah, definitely. And like Lee, obviously, like, look, we've lost another attacker recently. Obviously, that's opened the door for Jaden Sancho to kind of come in and really showcase still that he can play in the United shirt and he can get a consistent run of games. Do you maybe think now, if you look at the 2 positions that he's been playing in the last couple of games in terms of on the left or on the right, where do you actually prefer to see him play in these next couple of weeks?
To be honest, I nearly jumped in there with Phil when he was saying that, because I think what the point I wanted to get across was I think it massively helped him against Burnley. I mean, for me, he was United's best player against Burnley. But I think it massively helped him playing with Luke Shaw up on the left. I think Luke Shaw had a great game, to be honest, and not many people I've not seen much about on Twitter or anything, but I thought his attacking play and his backup play to help Sancho out was, from a left-back's point of view, he played really well, and I think that helped Sancho out a lot. Now, whether moving forward, I know we've signed him as a right winger, but if he can strike up a decent partnership with Luke Shaw, and again, Luke Shaw's hit and miss, but on his day, he's a real good left back. You know what I mean? So we could have a great left side there.
It's like similar to the Rashford-Shaw partnership we had last season.
Yeah, they did well together too, didn't they? You know what I mean? But I'm not sure. When I've watched Sancho on the right for us, which has not been that often, to be honest, I've not seen him strike up a partnership as well as he did with Luke Shaw the other day. So it could be something that Ralph wants to, have a little look at and keep that going. And like I say, maybe put Rashford on the wide right, or maybe Elanga, because like I say, that lad still deserves a chance with how he's done this season. So for me, yeah, I'd keep probably swapping and changing, to be honest. But I'd like to see if him and Shaw could carry on that partnership on the left, because it did look really well against Burnley, to be honest. I know it's only Burnley, but the overlapping, the support play with them both, they look like they played together a lot more than they actually have. So yeah, I'd keep having a look at that, to be honest with you. Yeah,
100%. And I think, look, the thing about Sancho is with Dortmund, he was very flexible where he'd play across the front three. Like where he'd play off the front, or where he'd play on the right, whether he'd play on the left. Like, he has done all three positions before, so it won't be something alien to him to play on the left. And look, you're absolutely right. I think him and Luke Shaw's link-up play the other day was absolutely fantastic. It did remind me of what Rashford and Shaw's partnership was kind of the last 2 years. And look, obviously, as I said, like we're short a player now on the right, so it may be a case where Ralph maybe fancies Rashford to maybe play in the right there, and obviously cover until maybe in the summer, until we sign a new right winger. And obviously, look, Jaden Sancho can play on the right as well. So like, look, it just depends on what Ralph wants to do tactically in terms of his setup. But I
think if you can get them both firing, I think there's no reason why you can't swap and change them throughout the season, or throughout a match, throughout 90 minutes. Like they do that, you know what I mean? It's 1 minute you'll see Jaden pop up on the right, and then the next minute's on the left, and vice versa. And I think that too could be good tactics sometimes against different clubs, when you're expecting you've got Jaden on the left, and all of a sudden Rashford's there running at you. As a defender, you think, what the bloody hell's going on here? And if they both can do it on both wings, we might not need to sign, another wide man. We might just need to get both the confidence up and get them both playing well, and we might have them positions locked down.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Look, that's absolutely true. Yeah, 100%. And I think, look, if you have Elanga, Hannibal's also been called up, and look, I think he's someone who could still have a massive part to play in one of them positions, maybe come towards the end of the season. So, look, we do have players there who can play there now. And I think it's a case where you're right. I think Ralph just needs to continue to play him, let them get their match fitness, let them get their relationships developed. Because I think one thing with Sancho at the minute that he hasn't had the luxury of having is having a run of games where he can develop a relationship with whoever was on the right wing, whether it was Dallo or Wan-Bissaka, or whether when it was on the left, whether it's Telles or Luke Shaw. So I think with Sancho at the minute, I think for him especially, it's important for him to get a run of games. Obviously, we're talking about Donny when he was at the club. That was important for him to get a run of games. Now, look, he's gone to Everton on loan, but I think it's very important that these new players who are coming in get the time to develop relationships within the team. I think one thing we're only starting to see now slightly is cohesion. Like, we weren't seeing cohesion within the team earlier on in the season. We know that for a fact that just wasn't happening. So, look, hopefully Sancho can kick on. And as I said, look, that post-winter break glow up, I don't know what it is. I wish he could just have a whole season glow up and just continue to play well, but it's just one of them things where it just happens every year at Sancho. But look, if he plays well now and keeps playing like this and gets us into the top four, I'll be absolutely delighted and I won't be complaining. But look, hopefully he can kick on. Before we kind of look into the Burnley game, sorry, not the Burnley game, Southampton game, I'm going to just get into a couple of comments, and then I was going to come to And there's a couple of comments just before that, but I'm going to come to Reese's first comment here. He says, after the day I've had, glad this amazing show was on. Absolutely, Reese, we are all here for you. And look, anytime you need us, just reach out. And then look, all three of us are here for you at all times. And look, glad you're tuned in, even if it's on a Thursday. Though I know we're messing up your plans probably, but look, it's good that you're here and good to see you in the comments. And Treese is also in the comments, says, agree, Reese, good show this. And also Shane is in the comments as well. And Shane says, good evening as well. Reese has also brought up a comment, guys. We were talking about the new manager on the show, and we were saying who could potentially come in. We've mentioned kind of two names really in these last couple of weeks, and that's been Mauricio Pochettino and Eric Ten Hag. Reports have just come out literally just before we've actually gone live, and the report says Manchester United are ready to test the strength of Luis Enrique's commitment to remain in the Spain job. New chief executive Richard Arnold wants to explore the possibility of luring him to Old Trafford and on a long-term deal. And Reece also says that happened, he'd be over the moon. Just on the back of that, Phil, Luis Enrique has obviously had a great record at Barcelona when he was there, and he's doing a great job with Spain and really kind of reinvigorating the Spanish national team. If you look at the Luis Enrique kind of style of play, possession football, all about keeping control, like he's worked with big players, he's obviously he knows how to deal with big egos. Would you be, I suppose, welcome to him to come to the football club? Do you think maybe him as a manager and Ralph as a consultant could work well?
Yeah, I mean, interesting. I never really sort of considered him. Obviously, up until I've just heard that now. But yeah, I think, obviously his pedigree's there for everybody to see. He's, as you just said, he's dealt with a lot of big players, and the possession-based football would be something that I would obviously want to see at Manchester United. I think if he did come in, I think he would have to, definitely bring in some more players to suit that style, because I think at the moment the way we sort of play, and I think the players that we've got, we've not got enough quality in sort of the key areas to sort of go that way. So yeah, I mean, I'd be I'd be open to sort of seeing someone like himself come into the club, and as I say, with Ralph in the background as well, who's obviously very knowledgeable about the game, and he's obviously made a good start in terms of the philosophy he's trying to instill in the players. So yeah, I think that's something that could work. Me personally, I would like to see Ten Hag. I think he's somebody who I actually feel as though, in terms of world football at the moment, who's potentially available, he would be my number one choice, just purely on the fact that I think when I watch Ajax, and I've seen them play quite a few times recently, some of the football that they're playing is like absolutely, outrageous. And I think, it's different league to the Premier League, don't get me wrong, but I just feel as though he would, be able to take United to that next level, and to be able to probably, attract players who I feel as though we're lacking in the team at the moment, who could maybe, make us a little bit of a more consistent team, and be able to get them performance levels better over a 90-minute period. So yeah, as I say, open to Garcia. I think he is a great manager, and as you say, he's worked with a lot of big clubs, and he's doing a great job with Spain. But for me personally, I'd like to see Ten Hag out of everyone who's sort of in the pecking order type of thing at the moment.
Yeah, look, Ten Hag seems to be on the lips of many Man United fans now. When I looked at when Ollie got sacked at the time, I was thinking my names were Ten Hag, Pochettino, Zidane, I mentioned, but it looks like Zidane's destined to go to PSG at this moment. I think them three names were linked. Now, obviously, Luis Enrique is coming out of the woodwork. I didn't, as Phil mentioned, I actually never thought about him either, to be honest. But he is someone who has a good pedigree, and Lee, Reese brings it up here in the comments. He has a 76% win percentage with Barcelona, 2 leagues, 3 Copa del Rey's, a Champions League, a Club World Cup, and a Super Cup in 3 years. So in that short space of time he was at Barcelona, it was a very successful period of Barcelona. When you look at that now, could you maybe see him as someone who could maybe be that alternative that we can maybe look at. Let's say if Ten Hag wants to stay with that Ajax project, and maybe if Man United don't, maybe look at Pochettino. Maybe they want someone who's won trophies at the highest level.
Yeah, I would definitely be open to Enrique coming. I mean, I seen a rumour a few months ago. I think it was over Twitter or something. It was only a little rumour that they was thinking about that anyway. And I when I heard the rumour itself, I thought it might not be a bad imagination, if I'm being honest. But I thought that, you know, if it did happen, it's like I say, the record speaks for itself. Is in the short period of time, the things he's won, which Reece has just pointed out to us. You know, what football club in the world wouldn't want a manager like that? But I kind of reiterate what Phil said, and I'm on the same wavelength as Phil at the moment. If I had to choose someone, it would be Ten Hag. Young, fresh, new ideas. You know, I think Ten Hag would be a breath of fresh air, bring a bit of difference and a bit of different philosophy to the way football has been played for many years. So yeah, for me, my number one choice would be Ten Hag. But I definitely wouldn't be disappointed if we landed someone like Luis Enrique. You know, like I say, the record speaks for itself. So, win-win, either or.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, look, if United don't decide to go down the Pochettino route and they decide, like, you know, that Ajax, let's say Ten Hag decides I want to stay at that project at Ajax, then Enrique is definitely a good option. I think, for me, the last option I want to see United go down is, let's say, at this moment in time, a Graham Potter or like Brendan Rodgers. Do you know, like, Graham Potter's a great coach, but I don't think he's ready for United yet. I think he needs a big move before he's even considered for that. Now, obviously, I've been trolling the whole Twitter world with Wayne Rooney, and I think I ruffled a few feathers on Twitter there last week when I said Wayne Rooney will be the Man United manager. Now, one thing they misconstrued at my tweet was I said one day. That can mean any time. That could mean 5 years' time, 10 years' time, 20 years' time. You know, but people on Twitter like a good reaction. So, you know, that I'll leave that where it is. But, like, you know, I think if you look outside the spectrum of like Pochettino or Ten Hag, I think Enrique has to be considered. And I think because Enrique will probably want to go to the World Cup, like, I think if United are set on Enrique, then maybe the kind of option for that would be that Ralph stays on till January next year. The World Cup's over in December, and then, you know, Enrique takes over in January, and Ralph has the team set for him, and hopefully we're in a good position. And then as well,
I would have liked Ralph to have stayed on anyway, if I'm being honest with you. I know it looks like, obviously we didn't sign no one in January, so it looks like he's just been put there to deal with what we had, and, you know, not bring in anybody or, you know, try and mould the team around his own way. I personally would have liked him to have been given that responsibility to try and build the team, and maybe had a little bit longer with, you know, the likes of the players he likes and the players what would buy into his philosophy. 6 months seems a little bit short for me. I would have liked him to have at least had a year, and then, you know, brought some players in and see how we progress from there. Unfortunately, like I say, it looks like he's just been brought in to steady the ship with what we've got and get it ready for the next manager.
Yeah, I think it's one of them as well. I think he's come in steadying the ship, and then he's going to go in, obviously, to the consultancy role. Then after that, now, look, we don't know how much power he's actually going to have in that consultancy role. I think there's a lot of people, including myself, questioning that. But look, this is something we'll see. And in the summer, I think that's what will be.
Is that how much power is he going to have if he's in a consultancy role and he's working closely with a manager? If we do sign a manager like Luis Enrique, who's going to have all his own ideas and his own philosophies, do you know what I mean? How valued is his input going to be with the likes of someone like that? Whereas if he's got a fresh new lad like Ten Hag in there, you know, we probably look forward to getting Ralph's input and, you know, taking on board his experience and things like that. So that's the other thing if Enrique comes in. Is that going to be a clash if Ralph goes upstairs?
Yeah, and I think you can look at their two different philosophies. Like, they're a bit different. Like, in terms of, like, Enrique, it's all about, like, possession football, but Ralph's more about pressing and counter pressing. Yeah. You know, that they're a bit different. So, like, I think that could happen. They could clash, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think the new manager, whoever it may be, look, there'll be a lot of questions that need to be asked, because obviously there's a lot of players at this football club that we have mentioned before who aren't good enough, and, you know, it would be interesting to see who they move on what own players they bring in to kind of adapt their philosophy. But look, it's very interesting. These next few months are going to be exciting, and obviously probably annoying as well at the same time, because every day there's going to be a different news story about someone or something. But just kind of looking ahead to the Southampton game, because obviously they had a very big result last night against Spurs 3-2 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and they're on a kind of good run of form at the moment under Ralph Hasenhüttl, actually a student though, Phil, of Ralph Rangnick. When you look at Southampton's overall performance last night, just their last couple of games, are you concerned with them coming to Old Trafford at the moment because they're on a high?
Yeah, I mean, always off the back of a good result, that team is always going to have some confidence. And I think coming to Old Trafford at the moment, it's not, what it used to be. There's not that fear factor there for any of these teams anymore. So, yeah, I think it's going to be, a tough game. I was just obviously saying then, Keane, I don't know if you caught that, but I think the fear factor's gone now for a lot of clubs coming to Old Trafford. So, regardless of who it is, I think, they're going to be coming with a lot of confidence. Just beats, obviously, Tottenham, who's a very good team. So, yeah, I think, it'll be a tough game. They'll have the tails up. As I said, they'll be, looking to try and cause another upset, which, every time a team comes to Manchester United, it's probably one of the biggest games of the season for them. So, yeah, but as I say, I think Southampton's got a very good squad. I think they've got a lot of decent players. Some probably a little bit underrated. James Ward-Prowse for me, he's been, one of the best players in this last season, certainly for Southampton, but probably, in the Premier League, some of the goals he scored, the free kick against Wolves the other week was absolute blockbuster, that. So, yeah, he's obviously got that quality from set pieces, which, is always a threat. And then they've got, a couple of decent players who can score a goal. Che Adams, for me, is another one who's sort of, gone a little bit under the radar. I think he's a handful. Probably didn't get the recognition he got when, obviously, Danny Ings was there and a few others. But, he's stepped up to the plate now. I think he's been, probably one of the best players in recent times. So yeah, it's going to be a difficult game. Again, I think if we can play how we did against Burnley in that first 45 minutes and be a little bit more ruthless, then the game should be dead and buried again by half time, because we are going to create chances. I think it's just at this moment in time we're you can look at it two ways. We're being a little bit unlucky with some of the decisions that's going against us, or we're not being as clinical and as ruthless as we need to be to sort of, kill these teams off and, put teams to bed. Again, that Burnley game was a sort of typical sort of scenario that's sort of, been happening for us recently. We've been playing well, creating chances and just not being able to put the ball in the net. And then, second half, it was a completely different story. Burnley had their, moments and we didn't see the game out. So I think if we do the same against Southampton, it's going to be a banana skin 100%, because they can score goals at any given moment. And, playing in the Premier League, you can't afford to give any team, chances and switch off and not being, professional every single minute of the game. So, yeah, it's going to be a difficult game, but as I say, I think if we play to our potential that we did against Burnley in the first half and we take our chances, then I'm confident that we've got enough to get that result over the line.
Yeah, I think it's because they're on such a wave at the moment. Southampton, you mentioned like a couple of their players still who are performing well, like Joe Armstrong has performed fantastically well. He's flying under the radar as well. Che Adams, Ward-Prowse, Livramento, who they have on loan from Chelsea. He's been class this season as well. So they have a lot of good players who've also, like if you're talking about best players outside the top 6 this season, if you've done like an 11. Southampton have a good, like 1, 2, or 3 players in there this season. So
I think that Romeo too. I think he's very underrated as a centre midfield player. I think he's like a very steady engine in there, and he can cause problems too. I think you've got to watch out for him on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. And look, Broja as well on loan from Chelsea. Reece mentioned it in the comments as well. He's been very good as well, even though I have 2 friends who are Chelsea fans who also watch this channel. So I'm not going to give him too much praise because I don't want to be blowing smoke up their arse. But he is a very good young player. They have a lot of good players, and I like what Hasselholt is doing with him. Now, they are prone to a 9-0 defeat every now and again. Leicester and United obviously being the 2 obvious ones. So just to throw that out there, I'm going to the game on Saturday, so I'd love to see a 9-0 to United. That would be absolutely fantastic. And the fact it's a 12:30 kickoff, after going out the night before, we better get a win. Because I'm
just going to say
home.
If it's 9-0, that'll sort you hangover at Keane.
Yeah, it will. Yeah. Well, I'll probably go. The thing is, the morning of the game, I'll probably be in the pub before the game anyway. So my hangover will be sorted either way anyway. But look, it's going to be an interesting game because the way Hasselholt plays football and the way Ralph Rangnick plays football, it's very similar in terms of press and counter press and win the ball back quickly. Wayne's comment here. Wayne says prone to a 9-0 every now and again. It's true though. It's true. There's a Twitter page out there saying, "Did we lose 9-0 today?" There's a Southampton Twitter page out there saying, "Did we lose 9-0 today?" It's true. They are prone to a 9-0 every now and again. But look, let's hope we get another one Saturday. But it's going to be interesting because I think with the way them 2 play football, they know each other very well. I think they'll be trying to cancel each other out tactically, during the game. And I think the way we've been playing, Southampton have been kind of are on confidence. So I don't think they're going to come to Old Trafford and sit back. I think they'll actually try to attack us, be aggressive, which I think could actually go in our favour. I think that actually could actually go in our favour, because if they came and they were just being the usual, we're going to sit 10 players behind the ball and we're just going to try and nick a set piece or something like that, they could probably get a result. But the fact they're confident, they went to Spurs last night and they outplayed Spurs, they're probably going to have that false sense of security that they can, play a high line, play kind of attacking football, push the full backs up. Look, if they do that, that's the way Sancho and Rashford are playing at the moment in terms of their attacking prowess. Then I think we can exploit them that way. I think the return of Paul Pogba in the last 2 games has been massively needed. I think he's been a very good player. He's kept us ticking. And he showed us what we're missing in terms of keep the, I suppose, tempo going, getting the passes going, breaking the lines. I think Pogba could be a big player for us Saturday in terms of when we win that second ball, that we release our winners quickly, and I think Pogba could be very integral to that on Saturday. But in terms of Saturday, obviously we have a lot of players back now. In terms of the Pogbas, Luke Shaw being back, Lindelof looks like he's going to be back this weekend. So at this moment, we're actually going to do our starting 11 predictions, and with these predictions, I usually always get these wrong every single time. I go heart over head. But we'll see what the lads are thinking now, because obviously we haven't won the last 2 games and we've played well for different parts of the game, but we haven't had a 90-minute performance. So it'd be interesting to hear kind of Lee and Phil's starting 11s. But Lee, I'll come to you first. What's your formation and what's your 1 to 11?
Yeah, mate. Just to add to what you were just saying there, I was going to get it in before we get to this, but I think Phil massively at the head. Just got to get this in with how teams come to Old Trafford now, with the fact that there is no fear factor there anymore. And I think what happens is the minute we have one chance conceded against us, or they take a couple of players on and have a shot, it's like all the rest of the teams in the Premiership, no matter who they are, smell blood with us now. And they just attack. And I was just going to say what a good point what you just made was, because I've got a feeling that's what's going to happen with Southampton. They'll become a point in the game where they will smell blood and they will go for it. Hopefully, we've got the players there now who, the confidence is coming back a little, that we can counter-attack that and make it work to our advantage. So, yeah, I think there was both great points. But my starting 11, I'm going to go for 4-3-3. I don't know if he's going to play that or not, but that's the one I would go for. I'd go David De Gea in net, Dalot and Varane, and I'd drop Maguire because
thank God,
he's got to be dropped at the end of the day. Hopefully Lindelof's fit enough to start or come back in. Is he injured, or is it because of the break-in that he's still not playing?
He had COVID, and then he also had the break-in as well. So there's been them 2 things happening kind of at the same time.
I'd like to see. I don't think Baye's fit, is it? So I think Lindelof or Jones would be the next option. But I think Lindelof would get the nod over Jones, and then carry on playing Luke Shaw at left back. I'm not sure whether Tellers has recovered from COVID or not too. But to be fair, with how Shaw played up against Burnley, for me, he'd keep his place anyway. I'd the middle three. I'd put Scott McTominay in with Pogba and Fernandes, and then the top three. I'd put Cristiano Ronaldo. He'd be back in my starting 11. You've got to keep Sancho playing, so he'd be up there. And then it comes down to whether I keep Rashford on to try and get his confidence back up, or I'd put Alanga back in. Going off Ralph, I've got a feeling he'll keep Rashford back in there. So I think that'll be my top three of Rashford, Ronaldo, and Sancho.
Yeah, that's a bang on lineup. I think Reece actually has something nearly similar to yourself regards to starting 11s. I'll come to Reece's lineup there in a moment. But Phil, do you have anything different from Lee's starting 11?
No, I agree with Lee, if I'm being honest. Short and sweet. I think, that'd probably be my starting team. Again, I think the only big one is whether, Ralph is going to drop Maguire. For me,
he's got to do anything, Phil. He's got to
well,
do. He's got to make a statement.
Yeah. I mean, he should do, but will he?
It's not. I wouldn't say he had a terrible game. Again, it wasn't terrible, was it? It was just that one mistake, and it seems to be doing it every single game.
Like, for me, if it was my decision, 100%. I think Varane and Lindelof are definitely our best centre-back partnership. That's not a question. I just feel as though, because of the way the game was the other day, I think it's easy to pin it all on Maguire. I think Rio Ferdinand hit the nail on the head when he said, you can point your finger at Harry Maguire and blame him for that goal, which, it was a bad error, and he could have dealt with that a lot better. But I think collectively as well as a team,
100%.
Could have defended that situation a lot better. And Burnley's tails were up straight after half time. They're always going to have 10, 15 minutes, in the game where, they're going to be on top a little bit. And you need to manage that as a team a lot better. Whether Ralph thinks that Maguire's, going to take the fall for that one and bring Lindelof back in, we'll obviously have to wait.
I think with Maguire too, it seems like when he does make a mistake, it 9 times out of 10 does get punished with a goal, doesn't it? You know what I mean? It doesn't seem to have that look where it makes a mistake, and someone fluffs the lines or does a bad pass. They always seem to put it in the net when he makes. So he's a bit unlucky with that too. But he's made far too many this season.
Yeah, it sort of gets highlighted a lot more when he makes mistakes.
I don't think he had a bad. I don't actually think he had a bad game. I don't think he had a bad 90 minutes. The mistake cost us the goal, didn't it?
But
I think he gives everyone anxiety, don't he? When he gets the ball, either he's turning too slow with it, or his decision making is so slow. Like his confidence from 12 months ago is completely shot. 12 months ago, he was one of the best defenders in the league. Do you know what I mean?
12 months ago, he was good on the ball. I think he was great on the ball, coming out in defence, and getting, pushing on and finding, decent through balls or knocking it long and finding feet. That seems to have been knocked out of him a little bit now.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Because even in the Euros, he's probably behind the Italian defenders. He was probably one of the best defenders in the Euros as well. And you look at him now; he's a shell of a man, and it's like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a mental thing. I still because you don't lose quality overnight. You don't lose your football brain overnight. I think there's. Obviously, there is a contributing factor when we play a high line. We don't have that defensive midfielder to kind of help us retain possession. So once we lose that ball, Harry Maguire's in no man's land, and he doesn't have the pace to recover. So again, that is also a contributing factor. I think there's a lot of contributing factors to why he's not thriving in this team right now. But he needs to be dropped for me. I think he needs to be dropped. And again, this is not a personal agenda. This is not a personal thing towards Harry Maguire. Before I get a lot of abuse on Twitter for this, but it's one of these things where he's out of form. Lindelof before COVID and the break-in was our best defender, so I think it's only fair that Lindelof comes back in.
I actually think Lindelof's had a better season than Varane, if I'm being honest with you. I think Varane's made not as many mistakes as Maguire, but the goal the other day, it was so sluggish getting back. When the ball we got it on the counter attack, and obviously he lost his man, and it looked like he didn't have a turn of pace to get back, and he was left exposed. So I don't think Varane's been as done as well as I thought he was going to do this season. I think he's been steady-ish, but I don't think by all means he's not looked like a world-class centre-back to me since he put our shirt on.
Yeah, I think he's looked good beside Lindelof, all right. I think him beside Lindelof's been grand. But beside Harry Maguire, the two of them just like, they don't complement each other.
No, not at all.
And like when you...
I was just going to say, I think with that, I think it's... I heard someone mention it the other day about Ronaldo. I think, you can look at individual performances, but again, it's, some of the players that you've got around you, if they're nowhere near good enough and they're making mistake after mistake after mistake and their confidence levels are low, inevitably that's going to rub off on yourselves. And I know you can only look after yourself sometimes, but them two players like Ronaldo and Varane, they've been playing in a Real Madrid team for the past however many years, playing with world-class players, and you sort of probably fall into that sort of comfort zone where you're just playing every week, what's happening, everything that's going to be a problem, there's not going to be many mistakes made. Whereas when they've come in at United, obviously on the flip side of it, for Ronaldo, he's not getting the kind of service he was getting probably at Madrid. The players around him aren't as good, and for Varane, he's probably having to do a lot more than he's used to. So whether that factors into some of the performances as well, I don't know, but
it's crazy. It's crazy to think that we still need to sign another centre back. We've got that many centre backs, so it seems that we still need a Rudiger for me. You know what I mean, or someone along them lines. It's just crazy to think of when we've got lads out on loan who are centre backs, and we've got Jones, Bayer, Varane, Maguire, Lindelof. The young lads. We shouldn't be needing to buy another defender.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you need another commanding centre back. I think we do. We do need another leader, because like anytime we've won a title, we've had two leaders, a centre back, not one. And I think you need to really work top level centre backs. But Andy kind of comes back to the point I was making there in terms of like Harry Maguire is good when he's in a counter-attacking system when he has to do the basics. But once we try to play a more expansive system with a higher line, unfortunately exposes his weakness. Again, last year we were in a counter-attacking team under Solskjaer when we didn't have the ball and we were doing quick transition. He was better in that system where you're popping the ball out to a Rashford, popping the ball into a Bruno, on the counter. But like in this system, when we've more pressure, like in terms of keeping the ball and trying to retain possession, it's just not his job. And also, Andy also says Harry Maguire played in the back three with two faster players either side, and could work. Like he done that with England actually with John Stones and Kyle Walker in the World Cup, didn't he? And also in the Euros as well. And so, like, look, maybe Maguire will be better in the back three, because I remember even with Leicester, like there with him and Evans, so when they sat in the 18, two very good centre backs. I remember his performance at Anfield, and that stopped Liverpool win the league. I just had to throw that in there, but like that he showed what he could do then. He showed probably why Man United wanted him, but again, yeah, his weaknesses have been exposed since he's come to the football club.
I think Phil, as a centre forward, Phil, if you was playing against Maguire, would you not just be looking at turning him all the time, because he can't turn? He can't literally do a 180 quick enough. By the time he's turned around, the centre forward's gone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd be looking at exposing him, and
you would, wouldn't you? You'd be coming short, and going long, and by the time you've done that, you'd be gone, wouldn't you? It's too small.
I think the other night as well, the one when I can't remember if it was Jay Rodriguez or a ball just got played over the top. I don't even think it was. I think it was just a clearance, to be honest. And he's just misread the flight of it, and he could have got sent off. I mean, he just sort of threw his arm into the side of him. Yeah. And it was just, he's
just not got that turn of pace. And like Dean said, that's where he probably needs someone at the side of him who's got that motor to cover him. But like Wayne's putting in the comments there,
you can't be compensating
for your back, should you? You know what I mean?
Can't be carrying people at all, especially in a defensive sense.
Not for Man United, not for being a Man United player, not the Man United captain to need to be carried in your own special positions. Not good enough, is it?
No, you need to be comfortable in all aspects. Pace, strength, knowledge, reading the game. When you look at the previous defenders we've had, obviously Vidic and Ferdinand come to mind. They had everything, and
that's one of the what I was going to say about Varane. One of the things that worries me about Varane too is he doesn't seem like he's a commanding centre back for me. Like say we had Vidic, Stam, these loud, no nonsense, big burly centre backs. He seems more of a continental centre back, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So I think we need that kind of aggressive centre back to pair with him. Like I say, maybe that will complement with Maguire's not an aggressive centre back. You know, I won't say Lindelof's an aggressive centre back. Bailly is, but then he's got an empty head when he gets on the ball, and he's prone to a cock up, finish. So it's, for me, like I say, we need.
If we had Antonio Rudiger,
it's perfect for me. Really.
Yeah, like even it's mad. I looked at Tarkowski the other night. Tarkowski was exactly what Maguire should be in terms of aggressive, winning the ball, you know, being there with your man, you know, like being commanding. Like, even though, like, look, I don't want us buying a Burnley defender to get to the next level, but like, you know, what I see now, Tarkowski is what I wanted to see out of Maguire, and you know, it's one of them things. You know,
they do like the side of the game really well, don't they? Like they're not great technically or anything, but Burnley, you know for a fact they'll put the bodies on the line. If there's a tackle that's 50-50 to be won, they'll put the bodies there. You know, they'll win headers. Ben Mees a similar, you know, type of centre half, which instill that into him. And the other night, as you said there, that was what they was doing in that last 20 minutes. They was throwing bodies in, you know, defending for their lives. And you need that at times. Even a top club, you know, needs defenders that are going to do that, because obviously clubs are going to have their moments in the game, and you know, you need to be brave and sort of have that, you know, hunger and desire like a striker would to score a goal. You need your centre halves to have that to keep a clean sheet or to stop a goal going in or a last ditch tackle. I don't think we've got that at all, really.
No, you never think you're going to nil a team, do you? When we always do a skill prediction, I never think, it's going to be 1-0 to us or 2-0 to us, because I always feel. I
did once against West Ham. That's the only time I thought we'd nil a team. That's the only time we'd nil a team, because it's like everyone was fancying us to get bet, and I was like, this is going to be a snatch and grab. Albeit now it was a snatch and grab literally last minute, but like, you know, it's rare. I don't think it's not often we nil a team anymore, is it? Like, we just.
Well, like I said the other game against Burnley, I kept literally saying it's coming. We're going to concede a goal. We're going to, and that's the weird thing about it. You know it's going to come. You know what I mean? It's not even just being the anxiety of it, and it's not coming out. And we always have anxiety when we watch United. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of the times we have anxiety, and we're still, you know, in years gone by. You know, it was just our own anxiety what was making us feel that way, and it wouldn't happen now. You know, if we don't score 2 or 3 in the first half, or you know what I mean, you know the other team's going to come back in it, and you know there's a good chance that they're going to end up drawing or getting beat, because we can't put teams away.
Yeah, and there's always that anxiety. Like, I remember I messaged into a group chat there the other night watching the game, and I said at half time, fantastic first half, we played well, full time score is going to be 1-1. Because I knew how good we're playing. We never put teams away anymore.
No. If that was City, it would have been 4-0 by half time. It definitely would have been. I put my mortgage on it. It would have been 4-0. Liverpool, it would have been 3-4-0. You know what I mean? It's just that bit of lacking. We lack that bit of cutting edge around. But when I think about it, who could we buy in January? What top striker is going to be available? I honestly can't think of anybody.
There's no one really there available now. If you look, try and think who's out of contract in 6 months' time.
I don't think Ireland's going to come, is he? I was saying Ireland all season, but I can't see Ireland coming now.
No. So, well, the thing about that is, because there's the other situation at the football club, United might be forced to go in for someone at that level now with the new manager coming in, because Cavani's leaving, Ronaldo's leaving in a year. Obviously, there's that situation.
Rashford's off form.
Rashford's off form. McNeil is still too young. I think McNeil is one for the future, definitely. But McNeil is way too young to take the number 9.
We need an established world-class striker. And I can't. I'm just trying to think out loud. I can't think of anyone who we could get in someone. Lee,
do you think if Pochettino comes in, do you think we look at Harry Kane?
I thought about that the other week. Harry Kane on his day, you know, is a 25-30 season goal a season man, innit? You know what I mean? And that's the type of striker we need, a proven striker. But on top of that, we need a proven centre midfielder too, and a proven centre back.
You're looking at 300-400 million there.
We are, mate. We are. But that, to me, that's what's needed for us. If we want to, I don't think we're going to make top 4, mate. I'll be honest. I don't think with the squad we've got, I don't think we'll make top 4. I'll be very surprised. I'd be more surprised if we make top 4 than if we don't make top 4 this season. And for Man United, that is not good enough. If we can't even we shouldn't even be speaking about making top 4. You know what I mean? Years gone by, if we would have got 4th, we would have been devastated. Now we're hoping and praying that we get into the top 4. That shows how weak over the seasons that we've gone from being that if we didn't get, first or second wouldn't have been an achievement. If we got second now, we'd be jumping through hoops, we'd be over the moon. So it just shows what a decline we've had over the years. And the only way for me we can put this right is by, like say, spending a lot of money and getting some good established players. But as things have been these last 6-7 years, are these top players going to want to come to Man United?
Yeah. When you look at the stats, Manchester United spend more money when they finish outside the Champions League places. Like the average spend when we finish top 4 is 72 million. When we finish outside the top 4, it's 130 million. So I think that tells you everything you need to know in terms of where the football club is at as to when we actually put our finger out and get what we need to get. So, look, I think there needs to be a serious stripping apart of this squad, and I don't think it's going to be a quick fix. There's obviously a transition that needs to happen, and the new manager that comes in is going to need, I think, at least 4 transfer windows. And that's what I'm saying. You're going to need this summer, January, this summer after that, the January transfer window after that. You're going to need that to really move on all the deadwood. That's the best word I can use, and get the players in to fit this new manager's philosophy. Now, not unless, look, it's an absolute catastrophe and this new manager comes in, results go even worse than they are now, then you sack him, but I don't even want to have that conversation. But, in terms that this new manager needs to be given time and there needs to be patience, but they also need to be backed. But look, this is where we'll see in the summer and how that works out. But final thing, guys, obviously, Lee mentioned Phil, score predictions. He said he doesn't fancy Man United to nil a team anymore. What's your score prediction for Saturday's game?
Me or Lee?
Yeah, you. Yeah,
me first. Right. I actually feel as though we I mean, going off previous games and when I've seen us, obviously we are creating quite a few chances. It's just having that ruthless streak and being able to take the chances to kill a game. I think if we can do that, we can win this game quite convincingly. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with my my heart over my head. I'm gonna say 3-1 United. I do think we'll concede, but I feel as though surely we can't keep missing these opportunities and with the quality that we've got, we should be taking a fair few of these chances. And with the performance from Sancho the other day, I think he's going to sort of be the catalyst for us. I think he's going to score our first goal and get another assist. So I'm going to say 3-1, Sancho first goal and an assist, and Ronaldo, and probably I'll say, obviously Varane unlucky with that header. I've been saying that for a couple of weeks. The other day I thought, he's finally done it. But I'm going to go for Sancho first, Ronaldo, and I'm going to say Rashford. So
Rashford. 3-1 win would be lovely. I'm actually going to give my starting 11 just so I can give my score.
I was going to say you've not done your starting 11, Keane.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to give my starting 11 just for my score predictions so I can actually give my scores. So I'm going to go, just to say quickly, De Gea, Dalot, Varane, Lindelof, Shaw, McTominay, Pogba, Bruno, Lingard, Ronaldo, Sancho, and I'm going to go 2-1, and I'm going to go Jesse to score, and I'm going to go Ronaldo to get on the score sheet as well. And so I'm going to go Lingard to kind of, I suppose, create more headlines, but hopefully in a positive way. And we went 2-1, and I go Cristiano Ronaldo as well.
You think Lingard will get booed if he gets to his starts?
There'll be a section probably of the crowd, but the real, I suppose. Well, what's the best way of saying it? Like, I think the majority, they may be a bit of ill feeling, but they'll support the player throughout the game. I think that's what'll happen. I think it'll be the same as Martial. Martial came on and there was a few boos, but effectively most of the fans did sing his name while he was there. I think that'd be the same feeling at Old Trafford. Yeah. I think, look, we support our team through the 90 minutes, and I certainly will if he plays anyway. Even look, if I think what he done was wrong. But look, I still will support him throughout the game. But Lee, what's your score prediction? I left you for last. Usually I come to you first, but I'll come to you last in this one. I'm giving you a chance to get one over on me and Phil this week.
Okay, mate. I've always gone and backed United to win every match this season, and it's done me no good. So I'm going to be a bit dubious. I'm not going to. Again, I'd never say we're going to get beat, but I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. And I think the goal scorers will be Bruno and Cristiano. I think they're both overdue a goal, especially with the chances they've missed these last couple of weeks. I mean, Bruno an open net, and then a volley which it could have. It didn't really get talked about in the match, but it was in the box and the ball come to him, and he tried to volley it first time and put it over the goal, and all he needed to do was take a touch. There was no one around him. He could have just tapped it in. So he's massively overdue a goal for me, Bruno. And Ronaldo, I think if he starts, he'll score.
Yeah, I think we're due a Ronaldo goal. I think definitely. And Bruno as well. I think he'd want to score in front of Old Trafford after that sitter he missed against Middlesbrough, because that was just an absolute travesty.
Right, so there's been a couple have gone under the radar with him where he should have scored them. You know what I mean? He's tried to do the worldly goal, and he could have just brought it down and tapped it in. And he's tried to make himself look better than he needed to. So yeah, I think he's got a few mistakes what he needs to make up for.
And Jim says there that that's the most sensible score prediction that's been here on the show. But he says his heart says 3-0. So Jim is the most confident out of all of us. He's saying we're nilling the team and we're getting 3.
See, Jim, I always say 4-1, 5-1. Every time I do, we end up either losing or drawing 1-1. So I'm kind of jinxing.
Lee, you should just say we're going to get beat like 3-0.
You know what I'm thinking. I'm kind of jinxing us saying that we're going to back the team, we're going to turn up. So if I just say we're going to get levered 5-6-0, we might actually win 5-6-0. So I'm having to change of philosophy.
Yeah, and hopefully this change of philosophy works in our favour. And also, just before we end the show, there's a bit of breaking news coming in there as well. Birmingham City have confirmed that Tai Chong has returned to the club on loan. He was playing actually fantastically well there, Birmingham in the Championship.
He's done well at Birmingham, hasn't
he? Yeah, so hopefully he can continue that. And look, it was a great move. And look, I was hoping they'd maybe send him to Derby and help Wayne Rooney out, because look, he's 4 points off safety, lads. Just to kind of touch on that just quickly, what do you both think of Rooney?
Amazing, man. Amazing.
Breath of fresh air. I think he's done absolutely amazing. I think if he keeps Derby up, it'll be up there with probably Leicester winning the Prem. It's that big of a sort of achievement. So yeah, I mean,
do you know what? And what I admire more than anything is took that job on at Derby, and obviously his boiled team Everton's come calling, and he didn't even take the interview. Yeah. For me, that speaks volumes about the kind of person he is. I know
he's got his mindset on. Yeah, he's got his mindset on what his job is at Derby, and he, as you say, he could have walked away probably at any given point. I think there was like financial issues which he's had to, sort out with his own money.
21 points point deduction as well.
Yeah, so
amazing. What he's done fingers crossed he keeps doing what he's doing. Just a quick one, Keane, before we go. I know you've mentioned it, and obviously I don't think Phil knows what's going on, but just to Reece, just tell him. Obviously, I know you've had a bit of shit news, mate, but keep your head up, and thanks for joining in today. And like I said, we're all thinking of him, and obviously time's a healer, mate. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we will continue to show our support, Reece. Look, we all are here, and look, thanks for tuning in today as well, Reece. Joe, look, you're a massive supporter of the channel, and look, as your friends here do, we are here. If you anytime you want us to support you, do reach out, because look, we are always here. We do appreciate your support each week to every single show we do on here on Talk the Devils. So thanks very much for your support, Reece, and as always, do reach out if you ever do need anything from any of us. But on that note, guys, we're going to wrap up the show here today. And thanks very much, everyone, for tuning in. The comments have been great today. It's great to see a couple of new faces as well in the comments as well. I hope you do come back for more. We will be back next Friday, where we'll be reviewing the Southampton game. But also the Brighton game will be after that. But also we'll be reviewing our first time meeting up as well. That should be a great crack after I beat Phil in table tennis tomorrow. Just throw that out there. But until then, guys, thanks so much for everyone for watching. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Talk the Devils podcast. Until then, guys, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next week.